Welcome to the Top 10 Gardener with Master Gardener Ken Lain. Gardening can be challenging, but with Ken's tips, tricks, and top 10 advice, you'll reap huge rewards. Now, welcome your garden host, Ken Lain.
And welcome to this week's edition of The Mountain Gardener. Your host, Ken Lain, here every week talking about the landscapes of northern Arizona. And we are in full spring mode. I was just outside the studio. I've got a beautiful, maybe a 1,200 square feet of wildflowers. They're not in bloom yet, but they are actively growing. It's very exciting to see. I mean, gardeners, we've been pent up way too long. We need to get outside, some fresh air, even if there's a chill in the air, but just fresh air is good for you. And so it looks like that last storm we had, what was that? I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, blew off the pollen. So my allergies do feel a little better. The junipers were going nuts. February was rough, first part of March. And now it looks like that pollen is down. So, but probably something else will take its place, pine trees or something. But I feel better and I want to be outdoors. And my wildflowers are growing. My forsythia is in bloom. Purple leaf plums are in bloom. The Bradford pears opened this week beautifully. This large shade tree, 30, 35 feet tall, 12, 15, 20 feet wide. It's a big shade tree in solid, glorious white. I mean, in fact, I think it was storming last week and they decided, yeah, I'm going to bloom anyway. It just feels good. It feels right. And they bloomed and they just got better and better and better as the week progressed. And that's how the spring season is. Here in the mountains of Arizona, we don't just slowly warm up day by day. We add 1 degree till finally spring is here. Now we're going to be as warm today. There's snow tomorrow. It's warm again. It just does this violent back and forth day and night. There could be 50-degree swings in temperature between day and night, especially when the storm comes through. So as soon as you start to see things growing and blooming, they've leafed out, or they've got new flowers, or the evergreens have got new candle tips, or your roses are starting to flush new growth. As soon as you see that, and that'll be in April sometime, the next days, if it hasn't already started, you focus in the lower elevations, the Camp Verdes, Cottonwoods, Sedonas, I would say Mayer, Dewey, Humboldt, you folks, Baghdad, Hillside, Kirkland, Skull Valley, you folks have already started. I mean, spring is here. You should activate your irrigation. So as soon as you start seeing things in bloom, plants are using more moisture. It takes moisture to keep those flowers, whether it's setting a fruit on a peach tree or apple tree or apricot or nectarine or plum, or it's an ornamental tree like a purple leaf plum, which got that pink flower on it right now, or the Bradford pear I just mentioned. It's an ornamental pear tree. It doesn't actually form fruit. It just made there to because pear flowers are so pretty white, and the leaves are so just a nice, rich, glossy green. The fall color is bright red. It's got a lot going on for it, but it doesn't form fruit. It's an ornamental flowering pear. As soon as you see flowers, you should activate your irrigation. And for established plants, that is, my landscape's at least 2 years old, you're going to water those plants once a week, a deep soak. That's trees, shrubs, vines, roses, things with a deep root structure, things that are shallow rooted. So let's say flowers, vegetables, maybe that's more your container garden, your lawn might be a different, more frequent schedule. But most of us have trees and shrubs. You want to keep those things healthy. I'd say water those about once a week. As soon as you see things waking up, that's your cue. Oh, Ken said I should turn my irrigation sometime on in April, whenever I see leaves and flowers on the plants. Go for it. And so I'm probably going to activate my irrigation this next week. Maybe this weekend, definitely next week. I'm going to turn it on and set the stage for once a week. I'll move. All my irrigation has been watering in the middle of the day through winter just because it's been cold. I didn't want the lines freezing. So I'll move that back to my spring schedule. And that'll be usually I'll try to water everything before the heat of the day. While I'm doing all the irrigation work, I'm going to set the clock. I'm going to turn it on manually. I'm going to walk the lines and do a maintenance tune-up of my irrigation. make sure the pack rats didn't eat at the head off of an irrigation head, or it didn't break an elbow on the main distribution line. I'll just walk it and maintain it. Your irrigation needs a tune-up like you would before you go on a long road trip. You're going to take your car in for a tune-up and an oil change, check the tires. Well, your irrigation needs the same thing before the start of each season. Now's the time to do that. So just be aware. Or if you just don't see, you're just not sure when my things are blooming, when there's leaves out there growing, because plants are using a lot of moisture to keep that new foliage or new flowers going. If you just don't know, whenever you see us hit the 70-degree mark, so when it starts to hit 70 degrees, plants are actively growing, time to turn that irrigation on. And then also you're out of the risk of freezing. So you folks have, some of you, especially the higher elevations, the Groom Creeks and the Highland Pines, those ridge lines, the Seligmans, Ash Forks, you folks, you turn and you drain your system, you cover them, you actually deactivate it. But for those of us in the lower elevation, we tend to keep it going. So mine don't freeze. I have the irrigation going year round. I just move the time when it turns on to midday in the winter. Right now, I'm going to turn it back to, I want to water things before the heat of the day, not going into the evening. I don't want them to be wet going into the dark. But as the light first sunrise comes up, you see already that the daylight's getting sooner and sooner. I want my plants hydrated before the heat of the day. So I'll set that up. Maybe next week I'll cover that in detail. Once I set my irrigation clock, I'll be ready to talk about it. I'll share it on the airwaves. But until then, let's talk about herbs. So herbs, it is so the vegetable and herb season is starting. It is a good time to start putting in fresh herbal plants. There is no reason anyone that gardens in the mountains of Arizona, actually anywhere in the country, should have to ever purchase fresh herbs. I mean, I needed I was making a frittata for breakfast the other day, and I said I need some garlic greens. And I walked around the garden, picked them and brought them in and used them right there. Oh, they were so good. My mouth's watering just thinking about fresh herbs. Oh my gosh, it's so good. You can grow herbs here, at least in Arizona, better than anywhere else in the country. The herbs love bright days, cool nights, dry. So we don't have all the melting issues with mildew and spotting and overwatering because it's too humid. We're like the perfect place for growing herbs. You can grow better herbs anywhere, in containers, in the ground, wherever. And so I would say the top producers, top sellers, the most popular, at least here at Waters Garden Center, are going to start with rosemary, just because some people like rosemary in the kitchen and some just like it pretty as a landscape shrub. It is pretty and it's in bloom right now. It's a great one. Not as many recipes call for rosemary, but when you do, oh, it's best on the grill. Oh my gosh. We had a roasted ham for Easter dinner. Well, we rotisserized this on the grill on the back deck. And on the tray underneath it, I put some fresh rosemary in that tray, just so it hit the water and you could smell the herbs. Put some lavender in there, some bay leaves. Oh, it was so good. And so that's what you can do with fresh herbs. So rosemary and lavender are kind of the most popular. Sage is probably the most popular in the kitchen, as far as you just use it all the time for a lot of different things. But creeping time. For the summer, well, mimosas, you gotta love mint. So that's spearmint for mimosas, but strawberry mint we have right now, pineapple mint, peppermint, all the mints. Mints are a weed. You can plant that right now and you'll be harvesting. I mean, actually, the more you pick the leaves, the fuller that plant gets. You can plant those now. The main thing with herbs, I noticed my best herb gardens are on the east side of my gardens. I can't say that. Some of my more sensitive herbs, like basil and cilantro, my east side. Rosemary will grow anywhere. Lavender, just about anywhere. Thyme reseeds everywhere. Oregano everywhere. But my best gardens with the best flavors, I just want to go out. My herb garden, not just herbs in the landscape, but my herb garden is on the east side of my house. And it just does magically. And you can have that too. So, Anyway, that's it for this segment on herbs and just starting the planting season. Be right back. Got to bring Lisa Waterslane in with your garden questions right after this. Water's companion plants for April are purple twist plums, perfume lilacs, columbine, and Arizona gaillardia.
Gaillardia is the perfect mountain perennial with huge fiery flowers on a compact plant.
She loves the heat and super drought hardy.
You can count on this bloomer to show off all summer long in raised beds, containers, or in the garden.
Javelina and rabbit proof. This bloomer is a must-have Arizona plant.
Arizona gaillardia, found at Waters Garden Center, 1815 Iron Springs Road in Prescott. You're listening to Garden Master Ken Lain, owner of Waters Garden Center in Prescott. Join his daily podcast for timely garden advice seasonally right for the gardens. Ken can be found throughout the week at Waters Garden Center in Prescott or through his website at top10gardener.com.